I want to give you a preliminary update on an officer-involved shooting that we've had out here tonight. And again, this information is preliminary. We might have more details that come in over the next several hours or in the coming days as we investigate. So what happened this afternoon is several members of our Violent Crime Task Force and several members of our crime suppression team working in concert with some of our federal partners, and as you know, we've been doing that for some time, working in concert with DPS and ATF. These officers were engaged in surveillance on a suspect they were looking for in this area that's wanted on an aggravated assault deadly weapon warrant for a previous incident involving a firearm. So during the day, they had information that that suspect might be in or around this complex here on Lazy Hollow that's next to us. During that surveillance, at some point during the afternoon, this all happened right before about 6 p.m., the suspect actually exited that complex on foot and came into the parking lot that you see behind us here. When that suspect was returning to the complex on foot, not a lot of people around. Our officers felt that was a good and safe location to probably take this suspect into custody on this outstanding aggravated assault deadly weapon warrant. When our officers approached to take this suspect into custody, that's when this officer-involved shooting occurred. We do have body camera as part of this incident, and we'll be reviewing that in the coming hours and the coming days. But it is clear that this suspect did produce a pistol and point this pistol at one of our HPD sergeants. We're still investigating if the suspect was able to actually fire at the sergeant before the sergeant returned fire once the suspect had pointed the pistol at him when the sergeant was trying to get him in custody. That sergeant is a 13-year veteran and part of our task force. No other officers with the Houston Police Department and no task force officers with the DPS or the ATF fired their weapon. Only one officer, was that HPD sergeant, fired their weapon during this incident. The suspect was struck by that gunfire. No officers were struck by the suspect. That suspect went down, and officers among the task force immediately began to render first aid on the suspect. Unfortunately, that suspect succumbed to his injuries here on the scene and is deceased here on the scene. That suspect's firearm is also here on the scene, a pistol next to the suspect. All of that will be part of our investigation. We have the Harris County District Attorney's Office out here, the Houston Forensic Science Center and the crime scene units out here, as along with our Special Investigations Unit and our Internal Affairs Unit investigating the officer-involved shooting. We'll be out here for several hours going through this. Our deceased individual is, we believe, to be a young adult African-American male. I will not be able to confirm identity tonight, and I don't have all of the details related to the previous aggravated assault deadly weapon warrant that's out right now. That'll be part of our investigation as the hours continue tonight. As part of our protocol, this sergeant will be on administrative duties while we begin our investigation for the benefit of the investigation and the sergeant involved. And also as part of our body camera release policy in the interest of transparency, as we have with any critical incident video under Chief Fenner's administration, this video will be released as we have with other videos within 30 days as part of our ongoing policy as it relates to body cam release. With that, I'll take any questions that you all have tonight.
You mentioned body camera video. There's several investigators out here looking into this, but this is an apartment complex. There's lots of folks out. Are you speaking with witnesses? Are you getting their accounts of what anyone may have seen tonight?
Yes, thank you very much for your question. And so we do have at least 2 witnesses that we're talking to at this point, and investigators will be interviewing them and also looking for any other witnesses that might have been in or around the area or possibly have witnessed any part of this incident involving the officers and the suspect. So that'll be part of our ongoing investigation tonight while we're out here.
Right next to the Home Depot. Is there any involvement with that store? Was the suspect going there? Or
There's not. There's not any involvement with the businesses, the stores here. No crime that we're aware of that has occurred here at these stores. It was simply that our officers, as I said, throughout the day, were conducting surveillance, actually looking for this suspect. This is somebody that they wanted to get into custody for questioning and also get into custody for this aggravated assault deadly weapon warrant. And so at the time that this suspect actually left this apartment complex and was on foot and was in a wide open, parking lot like this with not a lot of people around, that was an opportune and seemingly the most safe opportunity, right? Even though it's always dangerous, right? When you're trying to bring somebody in custody that has a violent, warrant out for their arrest. that was the best time for officers to approach. When officers approached, that's when the suspect produced this weapon. We have at least been able to preliminarily verify that through our initial review of body-worn camera video tonight.
So did he run, Chief, or did he get in a vehicle, or how's
No,
is that gate already?
Yeah, so from what I can tell, there wasn't really, a foot chase, etc. And it was just, coming back and forth through this parking lot in a hole that's in the fence here. And so that's how, able to come from the apartment complex behind these dumpsters over into this parking lot.
We just heard from Chief Finner about the effort from HPD to get violent offenders off the streets with task force that seemingly are just like this one. How does that fit into some of the comments that we just heard from him?
Well, as you know, we've been, telling all of our partners in the media and the public, right, that we're doing everything possible to combat the violent crime and to have the greatest impact that we can in keeping the community safe. And with that effort comes us partnering with other agencies, like these officers on this task force are doing. You've got Houston police officers working in concert with DPS, with ATF, all of us out here trying to work collaboratively together to have the greatest impact for the citizens on the violent crime that we've been experiencing. And so this task force working together in concert tonight and looking for a suspect that's wanted is just another example of that.
How many officers were there at the moment when the shot?
I don't have an exact number for you, but it was several officers. Several officers. Don't have an exact number, so I don't want to speculate on that. But again, only one officer, and that's an HPD sergeant, as part of this task force that actually discharged their duty weapon during this incident. And I don't know how many times. I believe at least several rounds, but I don't know the actual number of rounds that were discharged.
What kind of weapon was recovered?
The weapon next to the suspect appears to be a semi-automatic pistol handgun.
You know anything about the incident he was wanted for?
I don't have the details on that, other than all we know out here on the scene tonight is it's an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon warrant. And so I don't want to speculate on the details of the case that brought that warrant to be, but that'll be part of our investigation over the next couple of hours.
Thank you, Chief.
Anything else? Thank you for your patience. Thank you. Everybody have a good night.